like to take a few minutes today to talk to you all about post-traumatic stress disorder. I'd first like to explain to you what PTSD is, and then I would like to share with you from my own personal experience what it's like to live with it. I feel as though this is something that many people have heard about, but not so many know what it actually is or how it affects us. First, let me define what PTSD is. Post-traumatic stress disorder, as defined by the National Institute for Mental Health, is as follows. When in danger, it's natural to feel afraid. This fear triggers many split-second reactions that prepare the body to defend against danger or to avoid it. This fight or flight response is a healthy reaction meant to protect a person from harm. But in post-traumatic stress disorder, this reaction is changed or damaged. People who have PTSD may feel stressed or frightened even when they're no longer in danger. PTSD develops after a terrifying ordeal that involved physical harm or the threat of physical harm. The person who develops PTSD may have been the one who was harmed, the harm may have happened to a loved one, or the person may have witnessed a harmful event that happened to loved ones or even strangers. People don't often realize there's a difference between general anxiety and anxiety associated with PTSD. For those of us with PTSD, it's not so much about worrying what might happen, it's about what did happen. Telling a person to just let it go because worry won't fix anything, or the things that you worry about will never really happen, can not only be confusing, but it can also be damaging, because the things that cause our anxiety already happened. For us, it's not so much about worrying as it is about remembering. Now I'd like to tell you my experience was like living with PTSD. For me, I'm not only living with PTSD, but I've also grown up with it. Being burned at 12 years old is where my PTSD first developed. For many years, there was no name for what was wrong with me. They were just nightmares. Nightmares that I would have to live with for many years. As I got older and survived more tragedy, my PTSD intensified, and I hardly sleep. It was not until my relationship with my wife Shawnee began that I had learned just how far my condition had progressed. My nightmares had taken on a physical form, often causing me to act out violently while I sleep. These actions caused me to have a great amount of guilt every time I wake up and see a bruise on my wife, even though she says, "It's okay, I got out of bed fast," or "It was not that bad." I cannot help but feel tremendous guilt. For me, it's the hardest thing. The nightmares themselves are easy. I hardly remember them. It's the living with the things I've done. Even though I wasn't in control of my body, I still did them. I've had a lot of therapy, including EMDR therapy, to help me live with my condition. I still have a therapist that I see on occasion, and I will probably for the rest of my life. PTSD comes in waves. Sometimes you can go weeks, months, or years without any symptoms, and one sound, smell, or feeling will bring it all back to the surface. For most people, PTSD is not something you overcome, but something you learn to manage. So I'm learning to live with my PTSD and to forgive myself, but it's not an easy task. This is why I've joined an international advocacy group through the Phoenix Society for Burn Survivors. I will receive my training this October at the World Burn Congress so that I can help take on legislation and help others with my condition. I'm hoping that through service to my fellow man, I will help find forgiveness. In conclusion, I'd like to thank you all for taking the time to listen to me explain PTSD and what it was like for me to live with it. I encourage you to share what you've heard today with other people. The more people who know what PTSD is, and the more we share, the more people will find out what PTSD is and how it affects our lives.